welcome back to my channel. I'm Cherry Menlove and I'm the host of this channel. Excuse my attire. Again, I've got my jogging bottoms on under here. My children are on their Easter holidays and we're sort of rushing around, so this isn't a peaceful atmosphere at the minute, but that's okay, I wanted to do a bit more of a personal vlog today. I wanted to discuss something that is really close to my heart and became more important to me this past weekend when I got some bad news. I wanted to discuss depression and anxiety, and I wanted to it's a discussion in a way because there are obviously comments, you know, there's a comment facility, but at the minute it feels like I'm just talking at you. That's not really where I'm coming from. I do want this to be a discussion. It's really important to me that this is a discussion, and I want to make it really clear that this is not what I believe to be the definitive sort of answer or viewpoint or experience, because I don't think there is one when it comes to depression and anxiety, because it's so personal to each and every one of us. I have a big issue with the internet and people on the internet when they rock up and say, if you've got this, do this and you'll be fine. Or doing this was the best thing for me to do about that. Because some things are bonkers. They wouldn't work for certain people. You know, I read things and I'm thinking, well, that wouldn't work for me because I'm this or I'm that. And I know what they're doing. I know it's clickbait. I know that certain publications need to have a definite. They need something that will make you in an instant think, I have got to click on this to get the answer. And then you start reading through it and it's almost like you don't want to hear that, well, that person's different or richer or thinner or fatter or taller or has got a different, you know, psychological makeup to you, because you want what they are suggesting to work. I get that. But that is unfortunately our media. And it is unfortunately the way, like I said, it's just clickbait. So I want you to know at the start of this that that's not what I'm doing. I'm just telling you my story and where I'm at with it now and what my feelings are about it. So I think that often depression and anxiety are sort of, you know, coupled together. My feeling is that they're two different things. I know that, and I see them as two different ways that my brain works. So with anxiety, I often have thoughts of, well, what if this happens? And oh my God, that's going to happen. Or, but how about this? Or, you know, it's like they're tighter thoughts, and the tempo is much faster. With depression, or what I call being there or feeling very flat, it's much more of a sense of things are never going to get better. Things are never going to change. I am so this. I am so that. You know, much more shame, much more guilt, I feel with the depression side of things. Now, I don't know if you have ever suffered from anxiety or depression. I know that for me, the anxiety started after my babies were born. Because up until that point, I think I had always worried about things, but they had never been that jerky sort of, those anxious thoughts. Have you ever had those? Where they just jerk you out of, oh my God, say this happens. That started off literally the day I brought the babies home. It's hard. talk about? Yeah, I had an... that came out of nowhere. Yeah, I had a nightmare, a dream, just after we'd got home from the hospital, and I fell asleep, and I had a nightmare that I was coming through the front door, with one of the babies in my arms, and I tripped, and I fell on them. And that didn't happen. That's never happened, thank goodness. But that was really the start of it. Now, I think what might be interesting is if loads of you mummies rock up and say, "Oh, that's when my anxiety started as well," because then could just put it down to a parent thing, and then it never stops. But that was when that really happened, and I think because we are capable of sort of creating these new sort of neural pathways, the more we think about things, that I think I've let that go unchecked for sort of 8.5 years, until it's until I recognised it. Now, the anxiety side of things doesn't bother me actually as much as the depression side of things. Now, I have had moments of sadness, or a sense of being sad since I was very little. I recognised it properly when I was at drama school, and I sort of got an inkling, well, is this me? Is this who I am? It was being talked about a lot more. Yeah, I just got a sense of, growing up, I always hankered after a sense of peace, and never quite managed to get it. And so there was always this sort of hankering after something that I never quite managed to attain. But yeah, when I was at drama school, so that was when I was sort of in my mid-20s, that's when I actually thought, well, maybe it's this. Now, what I find interesting, or what I find sort of slightly compelling to dig, and gives me the urge to dig deeper into this, is the fact that the research that has been done on where depression comes from. Now, as soon as I went to my doctor when I was in my mid-20s, I'm now in my mid-40s, as soon as I went to my doctor and spoke to them about it, they immediately prescribed an SSRI, and of course, to up the serotonin levels in the brain. Now, of course, we now know that I think it's 90%, I'm sure it's not lower than 90%, don't think, but 90% of our serotonin is made in our gut. Now, I was raised with two very busy working parents. I was also raised, when I was younger, in a time when ready meals were just brilliant. I mean, they were a godsend. So sort of really nutritious. I mean, we didn't know about sort of 5 a day and all of that. It was all sort of diet food and all of that sort of thing. It was really high in sugar, really low in fat, and it was really easy to cook and blah, blah, blah. We didn't know about the link between sort of gut health and mental health. We didn't know about the whole sort of 5 a day thing. And my parents were so busy that there wasn't this opportunity to put nutritious meals on the table, with all the food groups represented every night of the week. I mean, there's no blame here at all. I don't think any of us knew what we were doing, certainly none of our parents. But I do think that that's really, really interesting, the link between gut health and mental health. Another thing that I have noticed with regards to just a level of flatness, depression being there, is that it is usually after a string of events. So my gut feeling is perhaps it's circumstantial. So things happen, and then something else happens, and then something else happens, and I'm still busy, and there's all this stuff still happening, and just one day I wake up and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So it's just this layering of stress, one thing on top of another, and I can't do this anymore. Now, does that mean that, if that happens to us, we're not strong? Well, no, it doesn't. It means we're too strong, I think, that it can get to that point, and that we haven't been taught self-care. We haven't been taught to turn on those little alarms that's like, this is not going to end well. It's that sort of thing. It's like, again, it's this sort of building new neural pathways. I mean, for a very, very long time, I took such pride in myself that I was a coper, that I could cope with anything, that I could take stuff on the chin, that I wore that as such a badge of honour. Now, in my mid-40s, I don't think that's very cool anymore. So they're the two things that I feel attribute or have attributed or have contributed to just a real sense of feeling very, very flat. Something else that came into play that I don't think was very helpful at all was all of the sort of polycystic ovaries, which I have recently read can be caused by poor gut health. So the polycystic ovaries, the extremely bad periods, PMT, all of that. So recently, I had an ablation. So that's where they remove the lining of the uterus. I had a cyst removed, benign cyst removed from my uterus. They examined the cysts on my ovaries, which apparently could have caused the miscarriages. I had 2 miscarriages. So there's all this stuff sort of going on in my sort of uterus area, and I was put on lots of drugs, which we've discussed. HRT. So that side of things now, I have to be honest, is absolutely amazing, absolutely brilliant. Cannot tell you how much better I feel. My gut, however, is a totally different story. And it is now my goal and my mission to heal my gut. Because not only will I not suffer from this massive discomfort and pain, but I think that it is going to make me feel, I'm sort of believing for this, make me feel mentally much, much more healthy. So when I was in my 20s and I went on to the antidepressants, I've always had a love-hate relationship with them. And I had been on them this time, I went on them, came off them. I went off them when I was pregnant, overnight, because I was advised to. Had no fallout. I think that's because my body was just so busy being pregnant. I don't know. But very, very soon after the babies were born, I plummeted. So that was a just classic case of postnatal depression. And I have had pretty much been on them with a couple of gaps since the babies. I'm on this massive sort of mission to just totally sort of heal myself, and part of that is coming off of the antidepressants that I've been on. Now, I don't have a problem with antidepressants at all. I just want to see whether or not I can feel better using gut health as opposed to the pills, because the pills have side effects that I don't like. So now I've sorted out the sort of hormonal side of it, and I'm also very privileged to have this, to be able to go and see a gastroenterologist and get that side of it sorted. I'm just going to give it a go. I really, really am at pains to point out that if this doesn't work after I've just tried everything, I will not hesitate to go back on the right medication for me. I don't think that the one that I'm on at the minute is right for me. I don't think it's right for me. the side effects are just too sort of severe for the benefit that they give. But I think that you can sort of, sit there in the corner on your meds, and, you have to really make an effort to go and see a doctor and see if there's anything else that can be done or any new meds that you can try. Is there any more research? Blah, blah, blah. And I know how busy we can get. So it's almost sort of, you can almost think, well, I'll just stay here. I don't want to just stay here. I want to keep pushing the boundaries in my own life and just see what can be done. But I just wanted to point out that if it's very clear that it is better that I am on something, then I will go back on them. I've got a book that I'm reading at the moment. It's called The Inflamed Mind, and it's by Edward Bulmore. I bought this on pre-order last summer, and I've had it on my shelf ever since. But since I'm now on this, mission, I'm going to be devouring it. I'm also reading another couple of books that I just want to wait until I have gotten through them before I start speaking about them, because I don't think it's right to sort of speak about stuff that you don't, you've got no knowledge of. But they are all sort of gut health related. And I'm just going to see if a combination of gut health, self-care, the right diet, the right foods, meditation. I've meditated for years, and I'll put a link below to the meditation that I use, because it's now available on iTunes, and it's the one that I use. And it uses binaural beats, and I cannot tell you how helpful it's been. Just those things combined, I'm just going to see how it goes. I've never done anything sort of as comprehensive as this before. I've certainly, like I said, given up the meds before. I've given up sugar before. I've started exercise regimes before. But there was always something that I wasn't doing. My feeling is that it was tackling the really bad sort of menstrual cycles, and then the gut health. But I'm getting, and I've had now professional help with all of this. So I think that might really prop up the efforts that I'm making with the other bits. But I wanted to. This is filed under fitness and health. It's not face and beauty. It's not food. This is about fitness and about health. And it was brought home to me, like I said, just from hearing some news at the weekend. And I just wanted to be transparent and open and honest about my own journey with the anxiety and depression, and what plans I'm making to change that, to try and change it, to try and make it better. And because it's been a blight on several periods in my life. I do know that there were times, and I think we've possibly all been through this, where the bad stuff was coming at me for a prolonged period. So when we have those times in our life where it's almost like, well, this stuff's been going on for so long, will it ever get better? I mean, I felt absolutely horrific for a really long period of time now. Is it going to get, that's when, towards the end or during one of those, I would feel extremely flat, which is why I think that occasionally it has been circumstantial. And fair enough, I think that's the same with any of us. I think that life is cyclical, and I think we do have that. I just want to put something in place now that guards me and protects me from that isn't just me popping a pill, that now I don't feel works anymore. They're not doing their job, actually, and that's perhaps because I'm on the wrong one, or I've been taking them for too long. It's possible, So I'm just going to give this a go. I will keep you updated, actually. Of course I will. And like I said, this is a discussion, although it feels like I'm just talking to you, at you. You know, obviously, let's use the comments, because this is just the part. This is just part of me. It's part of what makes up everything that I do online. And one of the things that gets us when we are feeling flat or depressed or anxious, or when we end up there, is that feeling of being completely alone. It is the way it tricks us into feeling like it's never going to get better. Well, let me tell you, if you are there right now, you are not alone. You are not alone, I can assure you. In fact, you're in very, very good company. Very good company. You're probably in the company of most of the planet, if you did but know it. And yeah, it's just anyway. So that's that. Tomorrow I go and see the gastroenterologist, and I will sort of record that. I will document that. It will be on my phone, so it won't be super quality, but I'll document it and I will upload it as a vlog onto this channel. Any questions, I'll put the link to the meditations and to the book below. Any questions, thoughts, comments, feelings, anything, do leave them below. And if you are not a subscriber yet, then do subscribe to the channel and you will be notified every time a vlog goes live. Take care of yourself first. Even if you've got children, take care of yourself first. We were not taught this. It is vital. Take care of yourself first, and then you can take care of the people that are in your charge. Take care of yourself, lots of love, and I will see you again next time.